Would you like to earn 25% or more on your money? How would you like to learn on how to invest in tax liens? Well, in this video, I will be breaking down my 7-step process on how I purchase tax liens. Aloha everyone, this is Rick here with GoodIncomeStreams.com and the author of Invest Like the Rich. On this video, we will be talking about how to invest in tax liens and earn anywhere from 8% to as much as 25% or more on your money year after year. Now you need to note that all these returns are computed on an annual basis. That way we can get a more accurate return. Now in some states, it's more of a penalty than an annual rate. Now say for example, you decided to invest in Texas. Now Texas is technically a deed state, however, there is a return on your money because they need to allow the property owner to redeem their property back. So that's why they have a 25% penalty. Now for non-homestead properties, these properties only have 6 months to redeem. However, if it's a homestead, meaning that property owner claims homestead because they are living on that property, then they have up to 2 years. However, it's still 25% penalty for every year that they do not redeem that property, up to the 2nd year. So say for example, you decided to invest $10,000 in Texas. Now with that 25% penalty, you are guaranteed $2,500, and you invested on a non-homestead property which only has a 6-month redemption period. So that property owner only has 6 months to pay your $10,000 plus the $2,500. So let's just say that the property owner pays you back or redeems that property. So you will end up getting $12,500 from the county. And let's say that you decided to just reinvest just that $10,000 and you held on to the $2,500, you put it in your pocket. And you did it again on another non-homestead property. At the end of that year, because you invested your $10,000 twice in 1 year and 25% penalty for each one, you just got $5,000 or 50% return on your money. Now you tell me, what bank offers you 50% or even just 25% annual return? Nothing. As a matter of fact, the only other thing that can compete with this would be stocks. And there might be a few other things out there that I'm not sure of and I wouldn't invest in. But for the most part, the only other one that I really know that's very common would be stocks. However, stocks is not guaranteed. You could get a great return tomorrow and then next week it could drop and you could lose everything. So investing in tax liens is a great way to make money because why? You have a guarantee that you will get that money, and if that property owner doesn't pay you back, guess what? You get to foreclose on that property. So you get to own that home. So now that we have gotten that out of the way, let's get back into the 7 steps on how to invest in tax liens. As a matter of fact, the 7 steps that I use personally when I invest in tax liens. Now, the first step is more of a decision process more than anything else, but still it is a very important step. And that is that you need to make a decision on how much money you want to invest, the amount of return that you want to get, the state that you want to invest in, and the exact counties in that state that you have chosen. Now, sure, it may not seem like much, but you'll be surprised on how difficult that can be, just trying to figure out which state is the best state for you to invest in. Everybody's going to be different.
For me personally, I like to invest in Florida, Colorado, even in Indiana. But for you, it might be someplace else, like maybe in New Jersey or in Texas or Georgia or someplace else.
Now, once you have made your decision on these 4 items, you can then move forward. But remember, this stuff is not set in stone. You can change your mind. You can go to another state or another county if you don't like that particular county or that state. The thing is, this will only help you to move forward, so that way you're not jumping around, because you will end up concentrating on that state and counties that you've chosen. Now question, what state do you live in? And do you plan on investing locally in the area that you live in? Or are you gonna go out of state? Let me know in the comments below, please. And while you're at it, if you could just please destroy that like button and the subscribe button if you are enjoying videos like this. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that YouTube will notify you the next time I upload another video like this. I would really appreciate that. Now moving forward to the 2nd step on how to invest in tax liens. Now that you've chosen your state and your county in that particular state, now you must acquire that list of tax liens that are gonna go up for auction. Now there's a few ways that you can do this. The first way, which is the slowest way, is through snail mail. Now this one, you're gonna write your tax assessor's office and request for that list. It's a longer process, but you should be able to get your list this way. Now, the second way you can do this is if you call the tax assessor's office. Now, this way, sometimes you still got to do other things, but at least you talk to them and you can find out how you can get that list. Faster way, but sometimes it still requires an extra few steps. And then the third way, which is to me is the fastest option, and that is through the internet, going online. So you can just go to Google and search out tax assessor's office and ask for that tax lien list. There's a few other items that you need to know, but for the most part, you can look it up on Google. If you needed to know something, Google can help you with that. Now, the third step on how to invest in tax liens is you need to comb through the list. Once you get that list, you start going through that list and figuring out which properties you wouldn't mind owning. Remember now, we're only investing in tax liens. We're not investing in tax deeds, meaning we are not acquiring these properties. But at the same time, we want to make sure that if that property owner doesn't pay for that lien, that you are willing to keep that property. If it's a piece of property in the middle of nowhere surrounded by other properties, meaning it's landlocked, then it doesn't make sense, right, to try and invest in that tax lien. When you start narrowing down this list, you need to make sure that you're gonna pick the properties or pick the tax liens on the properties that you wouldn't mind owning. We need to remember that we are not purchasing the property or the tax deed. We are only acquiring the lien on these subject properties. But if these homeowners don't pay their liens or don't pay that tax lien, then you need to be okay on keeping that property. You need to be willing to hold on to that property for either sell, rent, or whatever you want to do with that property. It doesn't make sense if you acquire a property or a piece of land in the middle of nowhere and it's landlocked. So make sure that when you do this part, you are okay keeping that property. Also, this list can be very, very long, and it can be very overwhelming when you look at that list, because it can be anywhere from a few hundred properties or a few hundred tax liens to several thousands, tens of thousands on that list. But if you know how to narrow it down, this process shouldn't take you that long. But in the beginning, it might take a little while because you're still trying to learn the process. But I'm letting you know, just narrowing down that list can go from anywhere from half an hour to an hour at the most, once you get used to it. Now, in the beginning, it used to take me anywhere from 4 to 8 hours just to narrow down one list. And that was because I didn't know what I was doing. That was because I was still learning. But now that I've been doing this for a little while, I usually only take about 45 minutes to an hour at the most. You can do the same thing. You might even be able to do it faster than me. In the beginning, it may seem time consuming, but it's well worth it when you're making anywhere from 8% to as high as 25% interest on your money. Now, the fourth step on how to invest in tax liens is you need to check what the property value is worth. Because a few things, you don't want to purchase a tax lien on a property that's worth almost nothing. Let's just say you purchased that tax lien for $10,000, but the property value is only $8,000. Now you just lost $2,000 right off the bat. And then when you decide to sell that property, you're not going to be able to get $8,000 because people will haggle you, right? So you might end up even losing more. So let's remember that we always want to make sure we know exactly, or even if it's not an exact number, at least a ballpark number on that property. That way you can make an educated decision if you want to proceed and purchase that tax lien, or if you just want to say, no thank you, move on to the next. Also, when you have that ballpark figure, or if you have that number on how much this property is worth, when you decide to sell that property, at least you can say, hey, property value is worth X, but I'm selling it to you for almost half. That way you can get a quick sale and get your money back immediately. Now, once you've figured out the property value, the fifth step is getting eyes on that property, meaning you need to see what that property looks like, especially if that tax lien that you are investing in has a house on it. Now, I must preface by saying that not all tax liens will have a house on it. As a matter of fact, more than 50% of them will be vacant land. I've seen lists of over 1,000, and more than 700 of them were vacant lands. There was less than 300 properties that had a house on it. So make sure you do your proper research. Now, the sixth step on how to invest in tax liens is narrowing down that list. So you've seen all these properties and you know which ones you want and which ones you don't want. So you just cross off those ones that you wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, right? I mean, if you see a property and the house was burnt, I suggest not investing in that, because there's a lot more headache than trying to build that house back up, right? Whereas you can just purchase another tax lien that actually has a house in it. There's a higher chance that you will get your money back, and if they don't redeem, you actually have a property that you can start making money, whether you want to sell it, fix it up, and rent it. Either way, you start making money. Also, you may want to take pictures of these properties that you do want to keep, or even the ones that you don't want to keep. This way, if you have properties that you didn't want to invest in and nobody bought it, and it shows up on the following year's tax liens or the following month's tax liens, you can just say, okay, I don't want that property because of this. I have a picture, I'm not interested in it, right? So it's good to always keep track. You always have some kind of list, and this way you're not looking at properties over and over again, because after a few thousand of these, you will not remember that property, especially if you're investing in multiple states with 5, 6, 10 counties in each state. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please smash that like button. That way YouTube can promote my video more to other people that might be interested in this. Also, if you know somebody that might be interested in something like this, please share it with them. I just want to spread the word. Let everybody know that tax liens is the best way to go. Now that you have done the first 6 steps, you've done your research and everything, and you want to purchase this tax lien, the 7th step will be to acquire that tax lien or purchase it. Now, sure, it might be a little bit more complicated than that, because you will have to bid on that property or that tax lien for that property. But as long as you've done your research, I can guarantee you that you will get a tax lien or 2 or more, depending on how much tax lien certificates you want to pick up, the amount of money that you have, and how much you are willing to pay for those tax liens. And even if you cannot invest in those areas, you can always venture onto the next state and start digging through their counties and picking those counties instead. I've had to do that several times when I was first learning, until I found the liens or the tax lien certificates that I was willing to invest in, which in this case was Polk County in Florida. That was the first county that I got into in Florida. Yeah, right there. You can look that up, Polk County in Florida. The tax liens are fairly cheap. And now that you've acquired that tax lien certificate, now this part is the least sexiest part of the whole process. Because why? You have to wait. You could be waiting a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the redemption period for that particular state. However, what you can do while you are waiting for your money or to foreclose on that property, you can pull the next list for that next county. Or if you're in Texas, guess what? You're going to have a list every single month depending on what county you are willing to invest in. I know certain counties have lists every single month, but then again, maybe in the smaller counties, you might get a list here and there. But I know Texas and Georgia, those are the only 2 states that has a tax lien every single month on the first Tuesday of every month. So another tidbit right there. Now that you got that list, I want you to keep researching and getting more and more lists, and keep researching and then buying more and more tax liens. Eventually you will fill up. You will have so much things going on that money will just start coming in month after month, year after year, because you in a way it's like you filled up your pipeline. Yeah. So you just keep putting in and putting in and keep putting in, keep buying all those tax liens, and eventually you have a full pipe. And then all of a sudden it will just keep coming in the money, right? And then you will just reinvest it and reinvest it and reinvest it. Now that we've gone over my 7-step process on how to invest in tax liens, what do you think of that process? Do you think it's complicated, or is it fairly simple? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, now that you know my 7-step process on how to invest in tax liens, what are you going to do? Are you going to start investing in tax liens today and start earning up to 25% or more on your money? All while being backed and guaranteed by the real estate on that tax lien that it's attached to. Also, if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to help you. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. And if you want to learn how I managed to purchase a property for a little over $2,100, check out the video on my left. Or is it on my right? One of those 2. Now I would like to say mahalo for watching this video, and remember to always strive for financial independence. And until next time, aloha!